हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna. So here Daksha is repenting and he's speaking. This is the purpose of we were discussing yesterday why Lord has to give pain and suffering in this material world is to help living entity grow in his consciousness. And he gives this opportunity again and again. But unfortunately, many of them don't understand. He he is giving pain to help us to grow in our consciousness to experience higher pleasure. That is the point. He is not happy if a child is if he is stuck up with certain lower level of pleasures. He always creates actually a living entity cannot be happy also. The change is because of this. The time factor on matter nature is the most important thing that happens here in this creation. So the relation between matter nature and the Supreme Lord is what? Time factor. Oh, time always changes things. It does not keep anything permanent. And the soul needs something permanent. So matter nature is like that. So if we understand things in this world are always changing, and I cannot hold on to anything here, we will start holding on to something permanent. But even in this material world also, Lord is arranging some pleasures. But he is telling, okay, even if you want to be happy, you have to be at least in a mode of goodness. So for that, he makes other arrangements. All this varnashrama, sacrifice, which Daksha is doing, helping us to become higher. And then he's telling the lower qualities, envy, pride, and anger, all these things which Daksha is exhibiting now, they are all the obstacles for being happy in this material world. So Lord want to show that. So he's showing with the example of Daksha. See how he's suffering. And Daksha may feel, see how great I am. And because of that pride, he lost his own daughter, who is very dear to him. So what benefit he got in that way? He didn't get any benefit. He was only in loss. So now he has to be awakened to reality. Array, what you are holding on to your pride is the cause of your pain only, your suffering only. And then Shiva did the needful. He gave the treatment. He did the operation, and operation was successful. Patient also died. But of course, Shiva brings him back, and then he starts repenting. He comes to his senses. He understands. Yes, yes, yes. I made the mistake. So here he is repenting. He offers this wonderful prayers. So we'll just read the translations of previous two, three prayers. He's telling that King Daksha said, my dear Lord Shiva, I committed a great offense against you, but you are so kind that instead of withdrawing your mercy, you have done me a great favor by punishing me. You and Lord Vishnu never neglects even useless, unqualified Brahmanas. Why then should you neglect me, who am engaged in performing sacrifice? So Lord never neglects. So neglect is the greatest punishment we can give to anyone. It's the greatest offense also. So here this is actually what is happening to Lord Daksha is understanding is I did a mistake, you did not neglect me, you gave me punishment, I am very grateful to the punishment which you gave. Is telling, my dear great and powerful Lord Shiva, you are created first from the mouth of Brahma in order to protect Brahmanas in pursuing education, austerity, vows, and self-realization. As protector of the Brahmanas, you always protect the regulative principles they follow, just as a cowherd boy keeps a stick in his hand to give protection to the cows. And these are all actually what makes us happy. I don't know. Happiness is there in this material world, that too in mode of goodness only. Education, austerity, vows, self-realization, they help a person to come to mode of goodness, which makes a person happy. So pleasure in passion is imaginary pleasure. It's not even real pleasure. Real pleasure is when mind is calm. So this I already gave many times also. Like when we wake up in the morning, early morning, not morning, early morning, 4 o'clock, and Then you are going for a very nice walk in a nice garden. Now you are not doing anything, but still you feel happy. Why? Because that happiness is in calmness of mind, in mode of goodness. This is actually what is the happiness. And then sometimes you are doing your performing your duty. You are given some responsibility and you are just doing the responsibility, and doing it only you are feeling very happy. Yes, I am doing my thing. You didn't get any result of it. The activity itself is making you happy, like that. So this is what actually is mode of goodness. So when a person does all these things, this is how the happiness should be understood. So mode of goodness, but somehow people they miss this point, end up in running, 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 and in an imaginary agitative pleasures. Anyway, we have discussed this few times, and now we'll come to Daksha's another point. This is, I did not know your glories. For this reason, I arrows of sharp words at you in the open assembly. Although you did not take them into account, I was going down to hell because of my disobedience to you, who are the most respectable personality, but you took compassion upon me and saved me by avoiding punishment. I request that you be pleased by your own mercy, since I cannot satisfy you by my words. This is a very nice point. He's saying that, say, if somebody is doing mistake and mistake and mistake, and then you give him a big punishment, he will come to his senses. That's what actually teachers and parents do. When the children are doing some mistake, they give punishment. Why they are giving punishment? So that the child don't repeat the activity. He does not commit the offense again and again. And then once you get a beating, he comes to his senses. They say that you should not beat children. Actually, at from age of 5 to at least 7 to not 5, at least 7 to 12 years. There is some between age is there where you can 6 to maybe 12 years. Now the children's hormones are growing very fast. Till that age, you can give some bit, not very heavy bit, not physical abuse, but one slap and all is good only. Why it is good? Because what happens now, it registers in the memory of the child. Generally, children are emotional, but you have to make them come to buddhi at the level of conscious intelligence. To make them conscious intelligence, you have to give them, you make them in such a way, when you give a beating, then they think at the level of buddhi, and then they understand, oh, this is wrong, I should not do. That's the reason when you tell the child again and again same things, he's doing also. Why he is doing? Array, you already told 100 times and he also repeated it, but still he will do, because it is not registered in buddhi. It is at the emotional level. On emotional level it won't register. So to make him come to level of buddhi, you give a slap. And then he understands, yes. Then he knows that I should not again put the wet towel on the bed. After you take bath, towel is wet, you should not put on the bed. Now he's not understanding. After the paste you apply to the you put on the brush, you should not keep it open. Or some things like this. So you give a small beating, then he'll come to senses, and then he will not repeat it. That's all. To help him to come to mode of sorry, to come to level of buddhi. So here also the punishments will help us to awaken. Awaken means what? Awakening of buddhi only. Dadami buddhi yogam. So all the process, all the whatever education, knowledge, and yoga and all is to help us to awaken our buddhi only. Basically, all the people, emotional state is very nice, cozy state. We want to be an emotional state. But buddhi is what we have to come. All the knowledge which we are receiving, all the scriptures we are hearing, is to help us awaken buddhi. And punishment is also for that only. Punishment is also to awaken buddhi only. So this is actually what we are all supposed to achieve and do it, to awaken to buddhi level. And here also same thing is happening with Daksha. Shiva is helping him to awaken to his buddhi. So punishment helped him. He said, yes, yes, I'm sorry, I did a mistake. I am so ignorant that even my daughter died also, it is not making me difference. So I am becoming so ignorant. So what is the pleasure Daksha is experiencing? His own daughter is dying and committing suicide in front of him. He is not even able to see it. What is the pleasure he's experiencing then? With his pride, he's only losing so many things. So that's why he used to be awakened. You cut his head off and then give a goat head, then Daksha understood. Yes, 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 I made a mistake. Such a heavy punishment. Uh, so it is not just beating, you're killing only. And now killing, and then after that, what you do, you give a goat head. My God, so heavy punishment he got. To big people get big punishments. So here, uh, this also we have, uh, yeah, and he's telling that I cannot, uh, and then what happens? Uh, it goes to the head so much, the pride, and we don't even see that great personalities, and we don't even. It happened also. We start disrespecting. Actually, it happened to me when I was in eighth class. That is where we are in teens. I was rebellious. I was rebellious to teachers also, and I used to make comments. And now I feel very bad. I regret that I should not have done that. I should have. And I got the result also. I There was Sanskrit language. I could not pass on the Sanskrit because I got the immediate result there. Means I was not very bad, but okay in my studies. But I could not even clear the Sanskrit exam. It is very simple thing. Because of that disrespect, I got that result. That year was very bad for me in education. Next 2 years were good because after that I liked my teachers, and because of you like your teachers, then you will get good grades. At least you respect them. So this is what happened to Daksha also. He immediately got punished, and then. Prabhupada's writing, as usual, a devotee is in an adverse condition of life, accepts such a condition to be mercy of Lord. See, Lord is helping us to awaken. Like say, uh, problem comes that time devotee become more serious in sadhana. What does it mean? He understood. Then no, I cannot just be lazy. I have to awaken, and it is easy to be we want to be in a lazy state because it is a good reason also. Like if somebody says why you did not do, I said I don't know. I don't know is a very nice reason. We can escape things very easily, and this is actually what people do. They don't want to know things, especially spiritual things. They don't want to know because they feel that responsibility. If I know, I have to do. But now I can tell I don't know only. So then you are exempted. That's what they feel. But it is not like that. We have to know, we have to awaken, and we go through difficulties. Then our quality of reading. Actually, one time I had some difficulty. I have to go and stay in a different temple. So I was not very happy. So it was so painful. I had to leave all my friends and go to some other place and stay. And then I read Bhagavatam. I read within few months till eighth, ninth canto. I read all Bhagavatam. That is after 5 years of my coming Krishna conscious. I was reading, but I never read. First canto only hardly I read. But when crisis came in 5 months, I read whole day, night. I used to sit hours and hours because it was so painful. I didn't have option. So that is the point. So when we are going through some crisis, it helps us to become more serious. So that's why Krishna gives sometimes problem. Actually, the insulting words used by Daksha against Lord Shiva were enough to have him thrown perpetually into a hellish life. See? But Lord Shiva, being kind towards him, awarded him punishment to neutralize the offense. Wow. So compassionate, Lord Shiva. King Daksha realized this and, feeling obliged for Lord Shiva's magnanimous behavior, wanted to show his gratitude. Sometimes a father punishes a child, and the child grows up and comes to his senses. He understands the father's punishment was not actually punishment but mercy. But similarly, Daksha appreciated that the punishment offered to him by Lord Shiva was a manifestation of Lord Shiva's mercy. That is a symptom of a person making progress on the path of Krishna consciousness. It is said that a devotee in Krishna consciousness never takes any miserable condition of life to be condemnation by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He accepts the miserable condition to be the grace of Lord, and he thinks, I would have been punished or put into a more dangerous condition of life due to my past misdeeds, but the Lord has protected me. Thus, I have received only a little punishment as a token execution of the law of karma. Thinking of His grace in that way, a devotee always surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead more and more seriously and is not disturbed by such so called punishments. So, this is always helpful for devotee, others also. And then Maitreya continues. So, three prayers, he said, I'm sorry, I did a mistake. You helped me from going to hell. And then Shiva said, okay, carry on. And Daksha continues. Maitreya said, thus being pardoned by Lord Shiva, King Daksha, with the permission of Lord Brahma, again being the performer of Yajna, along with the great learned sages and priests, began the performance of Yajna along with the learned sages and priests and others. Actually, it is very humiliating for Daksha. He's having a goat head. And just to take the goat head, to come near a goat head and you're playing with a goat, that itself is, and to have a goat head is such a punishment. Therefore, in order to resume the activities of sacrifice, the Brahmanas first arranged to purify the sacrificial arena of the contamination caused by the touch of Virabhadra and other costly followers of Lord Shiva. Then they arranged to offer into the fire the oblations known as Upa, Purodasa. Now here contamination, physical contamination and there is mental contamination also. Both are counted. So physically, like now food, here if it is seen before offering to the Lord, if somebody, a dog or cat or even humans who are desiring to eat, even if they see also it is contaminated. If you remember the pastime of Madhavendra Puri, when the kheer was offered to Gopinath, before offered only, the pujari was taking kheer to offer it to Gopinath. And Madhavendra Puri thought, oh, let me taste it so that I'll make this type of kheer to Gopinath. Then he felt very bad. Arey, it is not offered to the Lord, and I'm already thinking of tasting it. So this is also, of course, for him, Lord is more happy to give. But in normal cases, it is considered contamination. That's why they try to cover the bhoga before they take into the altar so that nobody sees. And if somebody is cooking for the Lord, we should not enter the kitchen because there will be some, even if we get desire in the mind, also it is contamination. So, and then there is also contamination in terms of physical contamination. You are adding something or breaking something here, what Veerabhadra did. Of course, there is here also there is both type of contamination, mental, emotional contamination, and also spiritual, physical contamination also. Here, this is actually what happened. Even Daksha also contaminated in one way by offending Lord Shiva. It is also contamination. Now he glorifies Lord Shiva, then it will be nullified. Virabhadra and all, they did everything. They did. That means the presence of any people, any ghastly people or any envious people is also a contamination. We should keep distance. Our mind is also contaminated by all these things. Lord Shiva's followers and devotees, headed by Virabhadra, are known as Veeras, and they are ghastly demons. Not only did they pollute the entire sacrificial arena by their very presence, but they disturbed the whole situation by causing stool urine. See, their presence only is is actually polluting. They're just being present is polluting. If you bring a very sinful person and you just stay near the sinful person, it is polluting our consciousness, definitely. Therefore, the infection they have created was to be first purified by the method of offering Purodasa oblations. A Vishnu Yajna or an offering to Lord Shiva cannot be performed uncleanly. To offer anything in an unclean state is called Sevapara. The worship of Vishnu deity in the temple is also Vishnu Yajna. So anything we are doing for deity, na, offering bhoga, that means your cooking is also yajna. Your offering bhoga is also yajna. That's what proposed. In all Vishnu temple, therefore the priest who takes care of Archana Vidhi must be very clean. Everything should be always kept neat and clean. And the foodstuffs should be prepared in a neat and clean manner. You see, this is uh, very particularly told about foodstuffs. All these regulative principles are described in Nectar of Devotion. There are 32 kinds of offenses in discharging Archana service. It is required, therefore, that one is extremely careful not to be unclean. Generally, whenever any ritualistic ceremony is began, the holy name of Lord Vishnu is first chanted in order to purify the situation. Whether one is in a pure or impure condition, internally or externally, if one chants or even remembers the holy name of Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, one immediately becomes purified. The Yajna arena was desecrated by the presence of Lord Shiva's followers headed by Virabhadra, and therefore the entire arena was to be sanctified. Although Lord Shiva was present, he is all auspicious. It was still necessary to sanctify the place because his followers have broken into the arena and committed so many obnoxious acts. That sanctification was possible only by chanting the holy name of Vishnu, Trikalpa, which can sanctify the three worlds. In other words, it is admitted herein that the followers of Lord Shiva are generally unclean, both mentally and physically. They are not even very hygienic. They do not take bath regularly. They wear long hairs and they smoke ganja. Persons of such irregular habits are counted among the ghosts. Since the presence in the sacrificial air, the atmosphere become polluted, and Prabhupada is actually pointing to hippies also. And he had to be sanctified by Trikalpa oblations, which indicates the invocation of Vishnu's favor. आध्वर्योऽन्ता हविषा यजमानो विशामपते दया विशुद्धया धैर्यो तथा प्रादुर्भूतधरा. The great sage Maitreya said to Vidura, "My dear Vidura, as soon as King Daksha offered the clarified butter with Yajurveda mantra in sanctified meditation, Lord Vishnu appeared there in his original form as Narayana." So he did not actually just started. So Lord appeared first. And then they all offer prayers to the Lord and again take his permission and then continue the yajna. So that's actually happened. So Lord Vishnu is all pervading. Any devotee who is in sanctified meditation, following the regulative principles, chants the required mantras in service and in a devotional mood can see Vishnu. It is said in Brahma Samhita that a devotee whose eyes are entered with love can see the personality of God. And here the point is that Daksha could invite the Lord. That means that much intense meditation he could do also. And not only this time, previously also many times Daksha might have performed and Lord might have appeared also to take the share. That means he is really very expert person in this. तदा स तदा स्वपद्ध्या तेषां दोत्यन्त्यादिशदोष दिशो दोषा वनया वन मुसनमस्ततेज उपानीतस्तार्क्ष्णेन श्रोत्रभाजिना. Lord Narayana was seated on the shoulders of Stotra or Garuda, who has big wings. So when Garuda flaps his wings, Samaveda appears. Samaveda is actually sang in a musical compositions. That's why it's so sweet. As soon as the Lord appeared, all directions were illuminated, diminishing the luster of Brahma and other great personalities. So now, how the Lord looks, that is explained in the next two verses. Shamo hiranyarasano ariktakirtajushto Neelalaka Brahmaramandita Kaundalasya Sankabja Chakra Sharachapa Gadas Charma Vaigairahiranmaya Bhujari Iva Karnikaraha. His complexion was blackish, his garments yellow like gold, and his helmet was as dazzling as the sun. His hair was black, bluish, the color of black bees, and his face was decorated with earrings. His 8 hands held a conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flowers, arrows, bow, shell, and sword. And they were decorated with golden ornaments such as bangles and bracelets. His whole body resembles a blooming tree, beautifully decorated, and various kinds of flowers. So Lord has these forms also, and we discussed about hands. If you remember, if you go to the evolution cycle, then we will see that evolution of hands is considered, it is like more advanced species. Plants and trees don't have any arms, hands. And if you go further higher, we will see that there are hands, but legs only, not much hands. Monkeys are little closer, they have hands, but they use for walking only most of the time. So in the hands also, the fingers are actually considered more refined fingers. They are more evolved like that. So here, then you have 4 hands means much more evolved. You have here 8 arms or what? So Lord appeared with 8 arms, so most advanced personality. But Krishna has 2 hands only. That is a different reason. Anyway, the face of Lord Vishnu, as described in this verse, appears like a lotus flower, with bees humming over it. All of the ornaments of the Lord on the board of Lord Vishnu resembles molten gold of the reddish golden color and rising moon. So the Lord appears just as morning sun rises to protect the whole universal creation. His arms display different weapons, and his 8 hands are compared to 8 petals of a lotus flower. All the weapons mentioned are for the protection of his devotees. So here the things are mentioned. Generally, in 4 hands of Vishnu, wheel, club, conch shell, and lotus flower. They are actually given. But he has extra 4 hands in this form. So he gives protection, and why it is the instruments are mentioned. वक्षस्य अधिश्रितवधूरवनमाल्य उद्धार हासावलोककलया रमयांश्च विश्वं पारस्वभ्रमद विज्ञानचामरराजहंस श्वेतातपत्रशशिनोपरि रज्यमानः. Lord Vishnu looked extraordinarily beautiful because the goddess of fortune and a garland were situated on his chest. His face was beautifully decorated with a smiling attitude which can captivate the entire world, especially the devotees. Fans of white hair appeared on both sides of the Lord with white, like white swans, and the white canopy overlooked like the moon. So this is how Lord is coming. So there is so much royalty there. And this is actually what is to give pleasure to the Lord, all these things and all these bangles, chamaras, everybody is a personification only. It's all conscious. So they want to do in that place. Smiling face of Lord Vishnu is pleasing to the whole world. Not only devotees, but even non-devotees are attracted by such a smile. This verse nicely describes how the sun, moon, eight petals, lotus flower, and humming black bees were represented by the fans of hair, the overhead canopy, the moving earrings on both sides of his face, and his blackish hair, all together, accompanied with a conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flower, bow, arrow, shell, and sword in his hands. They presented a grand, beautiful audience for Lord Vishnu, which captivates all the demigods, including Daksha and Lord Brahma. तमुपागतम् आलक्ष्य सर्वे सुरगणादयः प्रेणं सहसोत्थाय ब्रह्मेन्द्रत्यक्ष नायका. As soon as Lord Vishnu was visible, all the demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Gandharvas, all present, immediately offered their respectful obeisances. So, here same thing. It appears the Lord, the demigods, all it appears in the prayers. Yam Yan Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutas. So, Dhyana Vasya Tadgatena Manasa. Tad Vishnoha Paramam Padam. So, all these are indicating Lord Vishnu is worshipped by all demigods. So, all this sloka are about that only. And तत्तेजसा हत रुचः सञ्जीवाय साधवसा मूर्ध्ना धृताञ्जलिपूता upatasturadokshajam. In the presence of the glaring effulgence of the bodily lustre of Narayana, everyone else lustre faded and everyone starts speaking. Fearful with awe and veneration, all present touch their heads to their hands to their heads and prepare to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord Akshaja. Although the mental scope of even demigods like Brahma was unable to comprehend the unlimited glories of the Supreme, they were all able to perceive the transcendental form of Supreme Personality of Godhead by His grace. Only by such grace could they offer their respectful prayers according to their different capacities. So I think one more. Okay, after one more verse, we have prayer starting. Lord Vishnu accept the oblations offered in the sacrifice. Daksha and Prajapati began with great pleasure to offer respectful prayers unto him. The Supreme Personality of God is actually the master of all sacrifices and preceptor of all the Prajapatis, and he served he served even by such personalities as Nanda and Sunanda. So this is actually what Prabhupada is trying to help us understand. Okay, we'll end here. Thank you all very much. And Monday onwards, we'll start with the prayers. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you.